Hi, I'm Cheyenne March, and I got the joy of student teaching in a private Christian school just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. My student teaching experience was so phenomenal, and it's so cool for me to look back at everything that happened during the last 5 months and see just how present the Lord was. Um, just to touch on TPA briefly, I was terrified of it from the get-go. From the first time it was mentioned our freshman year, okay, here's a TPA, this is an evaluation you'll do. We're going to practice each task once a year. It terrified me, and I kind of figured, okay, when I see it all lined up together, I think it'll make more sense. And to some degree it did, but I was still absolutely lost when it came to things like the language of a TPA. And I do not think I would have gotten through at TPA had I not had the meetings with Professor Shank that I did, because she clarified so much for me and really just walked me through it when I was so overwhelmed. I was at a point where I said, there's no way I can do this. It's just so overwhelming and confusing, but she really helped me see that it was something I was capable of, which felt like a huge, huge win for me. My class, I was with a second grade class. There were 17 of them, a fairly diverse group in all aspects of the word. It was just really cool to see how each of them needed to be cared for emotionally in their own respective ways, how they needed to be taught given different learning perspectives, how they needed to be approached when it became to behavior issues and redirection, and seeing how they each just were their own individual beings was so cool for me to see. I had a lot of learning disabilities in my class, and I got to really learn how to tend to each one. And even though there might be two students that have ADHD, it manifests itself so differently in them. And it really helped me to see that learning disabilities don't put kids in a box, because they're still their own unique individual with these struggles. This semester has really been a whirlwind for me personally. I had a lot of health issues that I've been working through, and we're just now starting to get some answers. Um, Doing obviously all the work that comes with student teaching and being in the classroom all day. But on top of that, I was putting the final touches on wedding planning. I just got married this past weekend and moved 1,000 miles away from where I student taught down to Florida. My husband went through the program recently, and he is now teaching 5th grade in Central Florida. I bring that up because the school that I student taught at was such a special place for me. It's where I went to school for middle school and high school. It's where I became a believer. It's where I learned so much about myself, and it's where I met my husband. And it holds such a special place in my heart. So the fact that I got to go back into this community and pour back into them, just the way that I felt like I was poured into there, was so sweet. I got to form relationships with students who their parents I knew previously very vaguely, or I knew them from working there during the summer camp. It was such a cool opportunity to be back into a community that invested so much into me at a time in my life that I really needed it. My host teacher was phenomenal. She was extremely understanding and extremely gracious when it came to these health complications I was having, and was very understanding of just where my emotions might have been on one given day, or how I was feeling physically. And she was so encouraged, or so encouraging to me. I was so encouraged by her. I think one of the highlights from student teaching for me was my last 2 days. My second to last day, I went out and observed teachers from every other grade to just see how they taught. And while I did that, my class made me a book of encouragements and memories and things that I can hold on to remember just how special the last 5 months were for me. And I'm just so in awe when I look back and see how much I grew and how much I learned in how to work with each student individually, but also as a whole, and see them as a family. It was just such an awesome experience to be able to do that. And I'm really thankful for this program. I'm so thankful for our professors that were so understanding with a lot of what I was dealing with, and so encouraging and helpful and gracious, that at the end of the day, I really could not have wished for a better program to finish out my student teaching at. So, thank you.